For you being a mom in real life, can you tell us, like I have friends that just had babies, can you give out some mom advice?
Sleep whenever you can.
Okay.
Don't tell yourself that your job is defined by anybody else's job. Like, that's the other thing that was really hard for me, is I kept comparing myself to other moms. I kept comparing my kid to other kids, and that was the worst thing I could do, because as many books and movies and things that have been written about children, there has never been a child that is yours before on this planet. And there has never been a mother to your child that isn't you. You're perfect. Be gentle with yourself, man. Like, if you get through the day and you're both alive and nobody's in jail, like with an infant, you did good. You did good.
My friend just had a baby in December, so she's like still learning the ins and the outs.
Well, it's so motherhood is one of those things that I feel like you never know if you did it right until it's too late to fix it. So we all get panicked, and there's so much fear because it's so important. But if you trust your love to give you the answers, it's going to be much more fun, and you're much more likely to turn out okay.
That is inspiring, because right now I'm very fearful. I'm just trying to put that off as long as possible.
We all are. We're all scared. This is the fucking lie. I'm sorry. This is the lie that nobody talks about. We are all scared all the time. All the time. So if I look at you and I find excuses for you to validate my fear, now you're the enemy. Whereas if I look at you and I acknowledge that you're probably scared too, then we're suddenly on the same team. And it's going to be okay. So I'm scared. I trust that you're scared. I trust everybody's scared. And that's how we get over our fear.
Why don't you think people want to admit to being fearful? Like you have, like you said, there's so many books, there's so many blogs, everyone knows how to parent other people's kids. But why do you think people are just afraid to be authentic and say the truth?
God, I wish I knew. I wish I knew.
Yeah.
I only know for me that fear tells me that listening to it will make me safe. So the more fear I hang on to, weirdly, I'm trying to make myself feel safer. And that's not the truth. So I just have to acknowledge that as a lie my brain is telling me. But I don't know why other people do it. I just have to have faith that they're going to find their way too.
That's a really good point. I feel like so many of us are kind of trapped in fear in so many areas, not just parenthood, but even like I want to go skydiving, just trapped in fear. And so for you, you're very accomplished. You have this podcast, you've been Emmy nominated. So like how do you push beyond that?
I make my feet smart, because if I wait for the fear to go away to do something, then I'm never going to do it. The answer to overcoming fear is doing it, and then you'll leave fear behind. So the answer, I ride horses, and I'm a very frightened rider. I'm always scared to do something new. And I've learned that the answer to fear is forward. Do it, in spite of the fear. And then the fear will go away. If I sit and and breathe and pray and wait to not be scared anymore, chances are I'm just listening to the fear. Move forward.
Thank you. I noticed you have your conch pierced. I also do. And this was definitely a fearful moment for me, but at the end of it, you're just like, wow, that wasn't that bad. I lived to talk about it.
Yep. Especially if it's something you want. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Generally,
that's true.
Like, authentically, to go real deep, the worst that could happen is you could die. You're going to die anyway. Do I want to die doing something I want to do, or do I want to die knowing I never tried?
That's really good. That's really good. And then on like the flip side, because I wanted to ask you too. So there's so many people who are nominated for an Oscar this weekend. You've been nominated for an Emmy. Can you tell us what they're feeling and just kind of take us through that process? Because I can't imagine what it's like leading up into the day. I feel like I'd be like passed out somewhere.
I can only speak to my own experience. Now, I was on shows that were Emmy nominated. I want to be very clear. I personally was not Emmy nominated, but I had been nominated for other awards in the past. And there's this dance my ego does which is either I'm not good enough, I'm not going to get it, I don't really want this, or fuck all those fuckers, I am absolutely, like my ego goes back and forth. And so for me, the task is recognizing both sides of my ego and just releasing. Just being like, I'm not in charge of any of this. I'm safe, I'm taken care of. What will happen, but it's actually not a definition of who I am and what my worth is.
This is taking me back to Drake at the Grammys. Thank you. You gotta own your truth, and I so respect that you're just telling it like it is. Like, and I'd love to tell us about your podcast, because if you're being authentic now, like, I'd love to hear more.
It's exactly this, with a lot more cussing, and we do it in my closet because it's great for sound. So yeah, the Wayward Podcast. We've had guests on. It's been Brianna and I. It started out of conventions because we do panels at conventions, and we just wanted to give people more access to that. And for us, it's a selfish thing for me to do because I feel good when I express myself. So I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to what happens with it. We're just creating and letting it go.
Well, thank you so much. This has been really good advice. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you guys find some amazing stuff. Thank you.